Welcome back. You're still watching Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nati. The French ambassador to Ghana is our guest on the show, Her Excellency Anne-Sophie Ave. Well, she's a diplomat and a TV host. We will be looking at her show, a teaser. We have a teaser for you, so you will see how, you know, she does it when she's on set. Today, it's my turn to question her. I'm right. Right after this, I'm sure she'll be extending an invitation to me. Okay, get on my show and let's talk. All right, then. So you did mention about the French Development Agency. Yeah. And we also had the privilege to be invited for the inauguration of the new embassy, the French new embassy in Ghana here. So we have a footage for that particular story. We'll take a look at it when we come back. You tell us more about the opening of the new embassy, French embassy in Ghana, and also we look at the French Development Agency, exactly what your activities are. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the video.
I was honored to lay the foundation stone for the construction of the new Chancery building for the French Embassy in Accra. As fate would have it, my very first public act as president during my second term of office is to be here once again, this time to assist in the official inauguration of this beautiful edifice, La Chancellerie Française d'Accra. When the pandemic of COVID-19 struck, France was one of the countries which demonstrated solidarity with Ghana through the launch of the 1.2 billion euro Joint Health Initiative and the donation of RNA extraction kits to the Noguchi Memorial Institute, which has contributed significantly to the efficient testing regime rolled out by government. I'm hopeful that Ghana and France will continually search for ways to cooperate. I have no doubt that together our two countries can forge an even stronger partnership for cooperation for the mutual benefit of our two peoples.
So that was the commissioning of the French embassy, the new French embassy right here in Ghana. And Your Excellency, what do you think about it? You were there, and then we also had the French foreign minister present here in the country for that special occasion, together with Ghana's president. What does it mean to you? And all of these, I mean, this is just one of the many success stories happening under your leadership. How do you feel about that?
Well, actually, what's happening under my leadership is that we moved into the new embassy. But it's actually my predecessor who had the whole works and the whole hassle of it. But truth is, we started laying the first stone in March 2017, and we could move in in January 2019, less than 2 years. That's how good Ghanaian building companies are, less than 2 years, and we could move in.
So the building was constructed by Ghanaian engineers. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. We had an architect who was French because we have some security things that we need to have.
Course.
You know, but otherwise, the company who built it was Ghanaian. So we were very proud of it because 2 years and it was done. And we know anyone who is in building business know that it always takes longer than announced, and we were sharp on time. So I arrived September 2018, and I just supervised the end of the works, and I had the pleasure to move in. And that's always an excitement. It's like moving in a new house and new premises, and it's even easier for me because it's in the same premises as the residence. So I walk to work basically. But it's when you build a new building, it means that you're here to stay. You don't build to run away. Last time we built an embassy in the garden of Jubilee House, actually, in 1960. We stayed for 50 years. So we're probably here for another 50. We've got a long lease here.
Well, that's good. Now, this signals the activeness of bilateral relations between Ghana and France. Could we look at the many areas of cooperation? What are we doing together? What is France giving Ghana, and what is Ghana giving to France?
Yeah, there are many areas of cooperation. I will just mention a few because otherwise I'll bore you in a minute.
We won't have all the time to do so, right?
And you'll be bored. So I think one important one is university. We have French students coming to Ghana and Ghanaian students going to France. Last year, we couldn't have this year because of COVID, but last year we had a university fair where 31 French universities came to Ghana to try and seduce Ghanaian students in order to have them pick French university for either the year abroad or a semester abroad. And what they were saying, with no trying to flatter, they said that Ghanaian students are really good. You would think that because English is their main language and that French is not a natural French, you're not a French-speaking country, it wouldn't be that easy. Truth is that the level of knowledge, of competencies of the Ghanaian students is so good. And you already speak 3 or 4 languages, so you will just speak French like this. And they are so happy with the Ghanaian students. We say we can't go wrong when we have Ghanaian students. That's why they were all so keen, 31 universities, very keen to try and attract students. And we have French students coming here as well. Another area is scientific. We have French researchers working with Ghanaian researchers in Noguchi. They are working on malaria and transmission of malaria in pregnant women to the baby. You know much more than we do when it comes to malaria, but we do have cases of malaria not caught in France, but from people who come back from a trip, and it takes sometimes a long time to spot it, and we can go wrong and misdiagnose, and some people can die, which is ridiculous because we know the cure. So working with Ghanaians makes our awareness and knowledge about malaria, about how it's being transmitted and everything. So we improve as well, thanks to you. And the last one is, I would say, it's not the last, but a third one would be defense. And that's new. That's something I brought, I must say. But of course, I came with my luggage of coming from the Ministry of Defense. We completely share. We came with exactly the same idea as the government. If we let terrorism enter Ghana, it will be a nightmare to get rid of it. So let's protect the borders and do prevention rather than cure. And we want to, it's also our interest because we know how hard we have to struggle.
Protect your businesses and then you take
Not
care
only, but we know how hard it is to struggle against terrorism. We are in Burkina, we are in Mali. We know we pay the price of blood. We've had 50 soldiers dead fighting terrorism. So the last thing we want is terrorism to get any further to the south and invade any of the southern countries around the Gulf of Guinea. So having a country that is aware that they need to do something and having us saying, okay, we really wouldn't like you to be at the place where your neighbors up in the north are, okay, let's join forces, do training, do sharing of intelligence, and that's how we work.
Right. So that will be defense and then education. There are many areas of cooperation.
There's many others.
So I was coming to the French language. The French are known for their language and food gastronomy and fashion and a whole lot. Let's talk about cultural diplomacy. Seems to be very important in France's foreign policy. Tell us more about it. That's like a major tool that you use in getting into other territories where you cement your presence and all of that.
I think the reason is you can build a relation with another country if you get to know each other. For me, getting to know Ghana is quite easy. I'm here. And I'm very lucky because Ghanaians are welcoming me in villages, in families. So, you know, people are talking. So getting to achieving an intimate knowledge and getting to know people is much easier. But how do I share my culture? How do I make people to know me? How do I make people know my country, my culture? And unless we know each other, it's difficult to bond. Truth is that we are very lucky at this very moment because your president happened to work in France and likes France. So the link was easy. When I talk about my country, he knows it. He was there probably even before I was born or I was just little. But he knows my country almost as well as I do. So it's easy to bond when you know each other's background, each other's culture. So yeah, diplomacy is also about talking about sharing your culture, your language, and French is our national treasure, so we're very happy to share it.
Right, so talking about culture, the French people, their culture, and all that they bring, I mean, the minute you see them, you would know because there's something spectacular about them. And that takes me to an initiative that has been deliberately put together to push France to the people of Ghana. So we get to know France, we get to understand the French people, and we get to experience the French country. Let me show you something. When I come back, that is our next topic.
Welcome to Touch of France, the only show where we tell you all about France and France in Ghana.
My French came from a genuine interest in the language when I was in high school right here in Ghana. I always say in order to love a language, the person teaching you must love the language themselves.
If the melody is good, and good rhythm, we just can feel it. Music is the language.
Okay. If you told someone about a disease they don't know about, they're not ready to do anything about it. But if we kept advocating and educating women about what it is and how it can be prevented, then we are on the same page.
Touch of France.
Right, so that is the Touch of France. It is hosted by Her Excellency Anne-Sophie Ave, the French ambassador to Ghana. I told you she is such a competition. She does it with so much ease, talking about France and Ghana and all the experiences Ghanaians have had in France. And of course, it's not all luxury and beautiful. Like she always says, you know, we have challenges as a country. Every country has its own challenges. Now let's talk about Touch of France. Why are you sharing the space? Why are you sharing my space? Why are you in the same space as me?
Precisely because I didn't want to be the one advocating for France, because I thought that if VIP Ghanaians, people that Ghanaians worship, appreciate, like, admire, are coming and talk to me and say what they think of France, what their experience is of France. It's much more credible that if I say France is a beautiful country, you've got to come, this is my country, you'll say, okay, you're the ambassador, that's what you're paid for. So, yes, it's true, I love my country, of course, I am French, but I may not notice in France the same things as you would
Right.
when you come and visit. What comes to me as a plus, as an asset, you might look upon and say, yeah, not bad, but you have the best croque monsieur, or you have the best, I don't know, health system or something that I would say, oh, really? So I think it's interesting to have, to share my culture through the eyes of Ghanaian people.
How has it been? We've seen the likes of Anita Reskin.
Yeah.
I mean, she speaks impeccable French.
Yes, she
she's
does.
Ghanaian. She's, I mean, a great journalist with us here. We are so proud of her. She's a friend of mine as well. And we've seen Sarkodie, right?
Yes.
So we are talking about showbiz diplomacy. We are talking about policies in place to give people the best of life. We've had health issues discussed on your platform. Tell us about these people. How do you choose them? And then have you had any incidents of the other side of France as in, oh my God, yeah, so France is all that, but, you know, I think they lack or they are lacking in the space on your show?
No, because the show is for Ghanaian viewers. So we want to bring them what will interest them.
And these are people who have had experience.
They all had
with
an
France.
experience with France. Either they traveled in France, played in France, cooperated with a singer, you mentioned Sarkodie, learned French and then have been to France, studied in France, went to school in France. They have something in connection with France. And these different angles were also very interesting to have from them. Back in France, well, whatever it works and brings a little touch of France in the country where we are hosted will be just great. They are not telling me you should talk about this or this or that. If there are some imposés, some formal exercises that we have to do, it's always easier to do it in an environment where you have created a friendly, trustworthy environment. So if I have to push forward some ideas, concepts, or things that are not so friendly or not so easy or more diplomatic, it's much easier because we're basically talking to people who have learned and learned from each other and learned how to understand and admire and respect each other.
Talking of touch of France and then having Ghanaians visit France, how do you get a visa to France if you want to travel to France? I know this is one of the important questions.
It is.
That the viewers are expecting me to ask. I would want to know if I want to go to, someone has sent a message, we'll take it. So how does one get a visa to France?
Gosh, I'm going to be so disappointed.
How easy it is.
It is quite easy. But the first thing, the ambassador is not the one who has any power on visas. The consul does. And I cannot force my consul to deliver a visa if he or she says no. Then it is a Schengen visa. So it all goes into a machine that is interconnected with other Schengen countries. So if you have been denied a visa for Germany or Italy or Spain, don't even try your luck with the French embassy. Unfortunately, it will immediately flash an alarm saying it's been denied. So we will say, well, sorry.
There's nothing we can do
So
about
it is interconnected, because the moment you have a visa for any of the Schengen's countries, you can enter all of them. You land in Paris, but then you can go to Italy. We don't have borders anymore, not only for goods, but also for people. So that's why it might be a bit strict, but the regulations of what kind of papers you have to give and what are the conditions, they are jointly decided with all Schengen countries. And the third disappointment, I always start with, but then I give you better news, I hope, is that at the moment, because of the COVID situation, we do not issue visas. What's the point? You would go to France, you would be in quarantine for a week, and you will
I think all countries have suspended visa.
Yes. And then we have a curfew at 6 o'clock, so no Eiffel Tower, no romantic dinner on the river, so just forget it now. Just go when we're done. But technically, it's very easy. You just do it online. We have made it as simple as possible. So you can find on the embassy website.
So this means that the borders are still open. It's just that you are not issuing visas in person.
Yes, the borders are opened for diplomats, humanitarian, business people. So we can emergency visas. If you have a medical emergency
visas,
right? We can do that. But then we look upon them one by one. It has to really be an emergency. And of course, we've got French residents in Ghana who want to go back to France, and vice versa. We've got Ghanaians resident in France want to come and visit their families. So this is still possible. But you have PCR tests on departure, arrival, quarantine, and everything. But tourists, we don't issue visas because there's no point going.
That's still on hold.
That's still on hold.
Right. Now, so let's talk about how France is managing COVID-19. It hasn't been easy for them.
Just like most European countries. It's something that we didn't expect at all. The level of readiness is nothing like the one in Africa. Unfortunately, Africa has been in contact with many different epidemics or viruses, and the level of preparedness is much higher. So probably African countries were ready, and they made the right decisions in a very short time. In Europe, because Schengen, borders among Schengen are open, so any decisions you make, if you don't make them also jointly with other European countries, there's no point, because they're still crossing your borders. It's connected. Exactly. We've been trying this, trying that, trying a bit of other things, because it's very complicated, and the numbers are nothing like the ones you have. It's thousands. So we have tried different methods. Some are working, then the numbers went down, then went up again. Christmas was probably a spreader, and then so we're still in the middle of it. The vaccine has already started. We start the vaccine with the eldest to start with, over 70, over 75, the ones who have the highest risk to die of the virus.
All right.
But we're struggling. We're struggling.
It's going to be fine, hopefully, with the introduction of vaccines and all that.
Hopefully.
I think we will be fine. Now, let's talk about your multilingual accent. So how many languages do you speak?
I don't know. I speak a few. I don't know.
About 5 languages?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5. I don't know. French, English, German, Dutch, and a bit of Russian.
French, English, German, Dutch?
Dutch. So that's 4 fluently, and probably a bit of Russian. But it's I mean, coming from a Ghanaian, honestly, it shouldn't be amazed. You speak so many languages too, but because they're regional languages, you think it doesn't count, but it does.
It does.
Because for your brain, it's getting another language. So it matters. And the more languages you speak, then you pick up all the others. That's what I was saying. French will be piece of cake for you because you already speak languages.
Right.
I'm still struggling to speak a word of Twi, believe you me. It's really, really tough. and then I made friends in Pram Pram, and they tell me they speak Ga. How do you expect me to learn?
Well, that's a nice excuse of me not to speak French, but I'm still embarking on that course this year. I'm in live on Facebook, so you can join our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Diplomatic Affairs TV, and get all the contents that we have churned out on that platform and get to know what we discuss really on Diplomatic Affairs. And also, I'm grateful for your time. Your Excellency, do you have your last word before we go? Anything you want to tell me?
No, to thank you for giving me the opportunity. Sorry we couldn't answer all the questions, but I'm too talkative. My mother keeps telling me.
All right then, so viewers, thanks so much for your time. It's been very interesting having Her Excellency Anne-Sophie Ave on this edition of Diplomatic Affairs. It's been very, very insightful and educative. I hope you did enjoy it as well. If you missed, you can catch up on our YouTube channel, Diplomatic Affairs TV, or go to Pan-African Television, our Facebook page, and you can watch the show again. My name is Harriet Nate. I am looking forward to seeing you same time next week. Have a great weekend.